my friends. I'm here with my puppy Moxie, so hopefully she doesn't bark. She tends to want to bark at everything, so hopefully we can get through this. So the reason I'm making this video is because this week I'm not going to be there in class, and I just kind of wanted to go through this week's module with you. I'm not going to read everything. I just kind of wanted to quickly just kind of go through what you should look at. So yes, this week we're talking about colors. So I expect most of you guys are already familiar with things like this, talking about primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary colors. So like I said, I expect you guys to know all this, but just please just go through everything once or twice, because there is a quiz you're going to take, and I just want it to be fresh in your mind when you take it. So just kind of make sure you read over everything. We're going to talk about different kind of color schemes. I have these very bright, obnoxiously colored characters here for you to look at, and you're going to get very familiar with this kind of like base I drew for this. So yeah, look at all these, kind of read them over. This is definitely be on the quiz. These are definitely things it'll be there for you. And let's look at some color meanings. So in particular, these are kind of basic generalized color meanings. Really, truly, colors can mean anything depending on your story. For instance, there could be a story where instead of like yellow meaning happiness, yellow means sickliness, or green might be a happy color, or green can be a bad color. So it really is going to depend on the story you're telling and the meaning that you give to it. But I think these are in general kind of just general understandings of what these colors stand for or can mean. So just kind of read these over. I have some great examples here. This is for film, but I mean it holds true to comics as well. You can see how colors can be used to help tell a story or give a certain impression. So obviously, like I said, like I'm sure there's a story where pink does not mean sweet and innocent and playful, but this is just kind of very, like I said, very generally speaking. So look over these. I think these are great examples. Definitely stole these online from somewhere. So look all this stuff over, and I have some more. We're kind of pulling in the color scheme sort of thing in here too, seeing how these can also work in film and comics and things like that. Colors are great. Colors really can help tell a story or convey a mood very well. So that's going to be kind of your goal for your assignments this week as well, is you're going to be giving a mood to a scene using colors to help you. So here, these are some also really fun examples. So orange and blue together are used a lot for like action movies. So you're going to see lots of recurring kind of color themes going on in some of these posters, depending on kind of the genre of the movie. So this is kind of like action, thriller, mystery, drama movies have all this kind of blue tone to it. A lot of the quirky indie films, they love using yellow. So these are great examples, but like I said, this is not just movies and films. This is comics as well. So you definitely want to keep color. Of course, as a coloring class, you want to keep color in your forefront of your mind. I think I show this example off in like every class I teach. So I just think it's so easy and just clear right here that, a lot of times primary colors are going to be for good guy characters, and these are more classical comic characters than modern comic characters. But they're just great examples of using colors to convey kind of where the characters stand. And there's always exceptions, like Hulk is generally considered a good guy, but yet here he is with like using bad guy colors, and here's Thanos with the good guys. So not to say that these characters are always good or always bad, but this is kind of something to notice. We kind of got this pink and blue otherworldly kind of characters, except for Hawkeye. Hawkeye is really funny. I like that he's the same color as those guys. We've got very nature focused characters in green, except for maybe Green Arrow here, but his name is Green Arrow, so of course he's going to be wearing green. We got our anti-heroes, black and red. Not always good guys, not always bad guys. It's a very classic color scheme. And yeah, this is what I'm talking about by using color schemes, kind of like the movie. So this is a very orange and blue cover, kind of matches the color scheme of all the action movies we're looking at in the previous section. So some more examples of very, very red, orange, blue. Here's a very old comic. This is a 2-page spread I had in my comic where I used reds and purples and like a little bit of green to kind of show that there's something like mystical and evil. Like this is a bad thing, this is not a good thing. And these are the colors I chose to kind of represent that. So kind of pulling in a little bit of that mysticalness in with the evilness. So, okay, moving along. So this is a great, like I have a really hard time picturing light and shadows and making it look like, I guess, quote unquote realistic. So this is a really great example. So in here, this example, since this is an outdoor scene, we're going to use like a yellow light to kind of show that the light is yellow. So instead of using just white, because the sun is, the sunlight is kind of yellowish tint. So we're using a yellowish tint for the light. And same thing for the shadows, since it's on a blue sky and like a kind of brown ground. That's the color. The shadows are influenced. So shadows are influenced by the colors around. So unless you're doing something really artsy where the colors are just meant to be really contrasty, if you're drawing a character in an environment and they're meant to fit in the environment, definitely look at the colors of the environment around your characters and objects to determine what color shadows you might want to use. And in this case, we've got the brown from the ground and a bit of blue from the sky mixed together with the yellow sunlight. It all influences kind of the shading and highlights of this round ball. So I think that's very simple and easy. Is doing shapes more complicated than a round ball for me is when I tend to get goofed up, but try to keep this in mind when you're doing your colors as well. We're not going to be doing shading this week, but just keep that in mind. All right, so I love this example as well. So we've kind of got our base colors here, base flats, and then they're adding in some shadows. So they want it to be kind of a warmer kind of shadow. But the problem is this character is wearing a kind of a blue shirt, and by using the same kind of color as like the shading for the rest of the character, the color looks really, it stands out too much. Like it doesn't blend in as well as the other colors. So how do you make this color, less drastic? And the answer to that is you kind of make it more grayer, more desaturated. So take away the saturation and it kind of will make that color feel warmer. So you can see here compared to this, how this fits with the rest of the shading a lot better than this example. Not to be like it's wrong, but this definitely I feel gels together a lot better. So yeah, that's the trick. Desaturate your shadows to make them feel warmer. And then we've just got some more examples. I love this artist. They do a really good job of making the character feel like turning this very like 2D kind of cartoony character into kind of giving it this 3D feel. So messing around with your color schemes will definitely change the mood. I feel like the mood definitely got a lot more like creepier or darker, more serious once we weren't using bright colors. So definitely something you want to keep in mind when you're going to be adding moods to a scene. That's something you're going to keep in mind. What colors are you using and what do they mean? All right, so let's keep moving along here. All right, so I got a lot of examples from my comic just because, to be honest, I know what I've done in searching through all my comics here at home. It's too much work. So I have a lot of examples from my comic, and it's good because you can kind of see the decisions I've made. So in this example, regardless of how I feel about the art now it's a little bit older, I see all the things I wish I would changed. So this was the original version I had, where we've kind of got this hand in the foreground as kind of like putting up their hand like, no, stop, kind of to this character. And it really kind of felt like it blended in too much. Like I added this kind of blue kind of highlight to kind of help break it apart from the darkness of like her little cloak here, or like whatever you call this, little her clothes. So in this example, I just made it warmer to help it stand out more. So I added a bit more like blueness to her outfit and then made the hand warm because that way they kind of stand out from each other and it doesn't get us lost in there. So keep that in mind. That can help separate things out. And I love this example. I hate drawing backgrounds. Whenever I draw a background, I'm like, good job, me, I did it. So I wanted this character in the foreground to stand out from the background because there's a lot going on here as well. Like I added details and things, and I didn't want it to compete. I wanted to appreciate my background. I spent a lot of time drawing, but I didn't want it to compete with this character in the foreground. I wanted to make him feel close and us feel far away. So what are some things I did to do that? So the background is warm, and the character is kind of more cooler colors. So we kind of got that warm and cool going on. That kind of helps differentiate. And the foreground character, I have this black line art. And for the background, I did not use black line art. I used, you can see, we'll have a closer up look in a second here, but I used not black line art to help kind of push it back. I also kind of added this soft glow here. It's kind of like soft screening effect to kind of not have it compete too much because these lines are kind of intersecting right through the character, and so kind of lightening up those colors definitely helps him stand out more. And I have elements as I go further back get blurrier and get out of focus. So the kind of the areas I want to be clear in focus and the areas I don't care about as much are kind of out of focus. So I kind of break apart this as I go. So this is just a closer look at this one section. Nothing's been changed yet, but you can kind of clearly see the line art color and the differences, the fuzziness compared to this character over here. So in this version, I just got rid of that soft glow. This soft glow is kind of around here. That is gone. The rest is the same, so no blurriness. Everything's kind of sharp and in focus. And then here we can see the same picture, but this is before I colored in the line arts, and we got black line art everywhere. And now we can kind of start to see how it does start to compete a bit with the character here. And then this is all just shade, like no shading, just pure flats. And you can see, yeah, I feel like this version of it is just the flat colors. Like these colors are very bright, like very different colors to the background, but I feel like they're very much in competition for the attention of the piece. And so you can kind of do these tricks to help achieve the effect that you want and have the viewer, it's important that the viewer focus in on what they see, what you want them to see in the order you hope they see it in. Okay, so here are some tricks. I think this is another thing I bring up all the time. As elements get further away, they kind of start blending into like the atmosphere. So it's got like a blue sky. As the mountains get further away, they're going to get lighter and lighter. So darker elements are close to the camera, close to your eyes. The elements further away get lighter. There's less, they kind of start to be closer to the same colors. The contrast of it, I guess, it goes away. So up close, darker, more contrast. Further away, it blends in, it gets lighter, less contrast. That way your eye, this is a really great example because you got a dark kind of character here with light behind him, so he really stands out. He's kind of framed in here, and the background looks far away. If this is all the same darkness all throughout, it wouldn't have the same effect of this castle being off in the distance. Here's another piece. I wish I could zoom in a little bit more, but I love that they have these towers, and they just kind of go off into the distance. You can barely even see them because they kind of fade off into the atmosphere of the picture, and the elements that are closest same are darker. Elements further away are lighter. And you can always do tricks. I think this is a great example because this character exists in the darkness of the woods, but they still kind of added these like kind of soft screen type effects to help the silhouette of this character stand out. Because if this was just a dark black background, then it'd be hard to see the shape of all these little kind of little tendrils or plants or whatever it is on this creature. So adding this kind of soft lighter color behind a darker color really helps show and highlight the kind of the shape of this creature. And I just think this has got great atmosphere. It's kind of got that kind of foggy, foresty, swampy kind of feel. And we can kind of tell these trees are going off to the distance compared to the darker, more saturated elements in the front. Here's another great example. Like this is a drawing done. Kind of here's like the line art, and it's kind of done in this like dark brown / black. kind of colors. And when it's colored though, when they colored it in, we can definitely see that they change the color of the line art. So the elements that are close are important that we want the viewer to see clearly, still have the dark line art, but the areas further back, the line art gets lighter. So even when you draw it the first time, it probably looks like this, but as you color it, we can change the color of the line art to push it further back off into the distance. Okay, and then I have a few really bad, I don't want to say bad, really old art examples I just found of like different kind of moods. So this is a kind of more fun, lighthearted panel with the bright pink colors, and then where a more serious moment might have darker colors. This is kind of like a very thriller, spooky moment. So yeah, horror and danger kind of vibe to it. And then my action panels here, I use that, like I said, a good old classic blue and orange together for an action scene. And you can just kind of mess with your color palettes. None of these I think are good, but it definitely kind of shows you how you can mess around with your colors to kind of maybe figure out what kind of mood or scene you're going for. Because I definitely feel like using this yellow color is going to give a different feel from like using like a blue color. So like I said, none of these are perfect as is, but you just get a good idea of, you know, get some brainstorm ideas. I use a lot of times different colors to show transitions. So this is kind of transitioning from a flashback to like current day. So I kind of wanted the same face, the same like angle, but we know it's a different scene because not only is she wearing different clothes, but like the background colors is vastly different. So that's kind of how I showed a transition. And this is an example completely different, transitioning from one scene to another. And this one I have very cool colors, and we're transitioning to a whole another scene, whole different character with different kind of more warmer colors. So this is like a choice I made since it's kind of one right after the other. In the sequentialness of the comic, I just wanted to show that these are different places, and I use different, like I said, coolness versus warmness to show that. Okay, here's some tips. So don't forget that really bright colors like red might not turn out red when you print it out. Like on screen, it's gonna look kind of as is, but when you print it out, it's gonna look like brown or orange. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit, I'm going to talk about it in like 30 seconds from now, but I really recommend staying away from this super saturated corner. Maybe just use it very sparingly. Don't do every color in this top corner. Kind of maybe pick from somewhere in here is good. And using these colors are not wrong, but if you use only these colors for your whole art piece, you're kind of going to get a dark, very muddy looking piece of work, because it's basically you're painting in dark gray, and maybe that's what you're going for, but don't do this by accident. Like, don't try to stick maybe above here, like in case you're doing a very specific thing. And this is more for your whole piece, not just parts of your piece. If your whole art piece is based in here, it's going to be very dark, and it's not going to be super colorful because it's going to look gray. So you absolutely can use color palettes to help visualize. Like, I see artist challenges all the time where I'm only going to use these 4 or 5 colors, and I'm going to paint a picture with it, and I always think that's super fun. So go bonkers on that. So definitely you can use color palettes to help you. And don't, like I said, don't go full bonkers on doing all saturated colors. I like this example because there's certain areas that just really pop out. And it's because some of the other colors here are actually kind of desaturated. Like, instead of just using a bright white, they use this kind of gray color. And that really helps these kind of blue areas really stand out and makes it look almost glowing. So not doing if every color is super saturated, it's going to look like your eyeballs are getting blasted by laser beams. So kind of pick and choose, because I really like bright saturated colors. Just kind of pick and choose what those are. I think this pink is pretty saturated as well, but the skin color is not like a bright peach color. It's kind of the yellows and peaches are kind of more desaturated, and that makes the saturated areas really stand out. So being picky and choosy with what saturated colors you use is actually really fun. Here's another example where a lot of the colors are kind of more desaturated. It doesn't look gray or anything like that, but it's not using the ultimate brightness, whereas kind of this kind of pinky glow, and the gold areas are kind of more saturated to kind of show shininess, and the other colors are not full blast, full saturation. And I really recommend, you know, if there's an artist you like or a certain color scheme you like, yeah, I'm not going to call the art cops on you. Like, no one will. No one's going to know that you use the same colors from a different piece of art. No one's got a right to, like, these are my colors and only I can use them. So it might help you establish what colors work good for you just by looking at what other artists have done. So if you like a piece of artwork like this and you're like, I like the colors and how they did the shading and how these colors work together, open up in whatever program you're using, Clip Studio or whatever, and eyedropper colors and use that to help you. Like, it's okay. Like, maybe you'll see, like, hey, this green really isn't as saturated as I would think. So yeah, absolutely use references for your colors. Eyedropper like the wind. Go bonkers. And different types of saturation might work better for different art styles. Like, I feel like this is a more cartoony, bright style. Same thing, they're not going full blast. Like, they're not using that upper right hand corner of the colors, but they still look pretty bright and fun. This is another great example where a lot of these colors are very, very muted. They're very gray, but when they have the color, gosh darn it, it looks so freaking cool. I like the red and the orange and the hints of blue. I just feel like I could stare at this forever. I love the colors. I love the kind of effects they did that kind of makes it look like a 3D, like 3D glasses kind of art. So this is a great example of using muted colors with saturated colors to really make something pop out. It makes the art quote unquote pop, you know. So I feel like that's overused, but I think it looks beautiful. So yeah, definitely look at what other artists have done and you can learn from them. All right, let's keep moving on. Colors are fun. Okay, I really recommend watching both of these videos, but I really want you to watch this 10 minutes to better coloring video. I feel like I could watch this video 1,000 times. It's really good. And I have even more. So if you're only watched 2, watch this one first, watch this one second. And here's more in case you want more, because there's lots of great videos on YouTube you can watch to help you get good. So, and so yes, you have a quiz. It's a very short quiz, and you know, don't stress out about it, and make sure you do that. It's all about things we've covered in the lesson. Here is your first assignment. There's a few assignments this week. You're going to download this Clip Studio file. It's going to be this lovely thing that we've seen before. You are welcome to modify it. I've had students, I just kind of have this cross for the face. I don't even draw a face on the character. You can make it a male, a female, just leave it. You can leave it exactly as is. You don't have to modify it at all. Whatever, I just come on this to be quick and simple. Some people hate the cape. People drew faces, people drew hair, people added stuff, people removed areas. So if you're like, I don't want a belt, I don't want this headband thing, whatever, go as crazy as you want. Just use this as a base, because the idea is we're kind of taking the same general base and changing the colors to kind of create our own character. So it's all about using colors. So it really isn't important to modify the character, because we're kind of want to just get the vibe of your superhero or supervillain character. So you're going to kind of pick one or two. So you're going to let me know. Let's skip down here. Skip ahead a little bit. So this is my example character. So you're going to copy and paste. And you're going to answer these to your own, to match your own guy. So I made a superhero. My character's name is Tree Hugger. You can tell he loves nature and love, because I used green colors to kind of represent nature and the soft pink color to represent his gentleness and his love for love. And I have some things about him. He works at a flower shop. He wants to save the rainforest. He's a hopeless romantic, and I kind of said why I chose the colors I chose. So if you're going to do a villain, you know, you do like whatever colors you want, maybe darker colors. I remember last year I had a student do like, his character's name was Hazmat, and he just did like neon green and black, and it was a super villain. It looked really cool. You can do whatever the heck you want. I am not concerned about your Clip Studio file. This is one assignment where you don't have to worry about flatting it the way I want you to, or naming your layers. I just want to see a JPEG just like this. You're going to reply. If you're not sure how to post an image, I have some videos here. If you're not sure how to export a JPEG, because I don't want the Clip Studio file. This is like one of those rare times where I don't want to see your file. I just need a JPEG of it. I have a little thing here. You can learn more how to export your JPEG. You're going to post it here as a reply. So you're just going to put it here. You can insert your picture here. You're going to copy and paste the questions I have right here. You're going to answer these questions, and you're just going to be thoughtful about your colors, and you're going to choose whatever kind of hero villain you want. You can ice villain, fire villain, whatever. Go whatever you want. So you're going to fill this out. So hopefully this shouldn't take you too long. And like I said, you can go, if you want to spend time making it goofy, you absolutely can. But if you just want to do it as fast as possible, just take this base, use it as is. And all right, I probably spent more time talking about it than it's going to take you to do it. Okay, so this is your next assignment. This assignment has 2 parts to it. You're going to choose one of these. So I have 4 options for you, 4 different scenes. And you're going to interpret the scene however you want to interpret the scene. Some of them might be more obvious than others. Like this, I feel, is kind of a sad scene or an angry scene. You know, you're going to add colors. You're going to add the flats. And this is one where I do want to see your Clip Studio file. So you're going to make sure your layers are named and it's organized for me to look through. And you're going to color the flats based on what the mood of the scene is. So you can download these. You can also draw your own. I feel like it's faster just to take one that I've already drawn, but let's say you want to draw your own. That's absolutely, I would love you to. So just make sure you put it past me first, just so I make sure it fits the requirements of what we're looking for. So you absolutely need to do that, or else, you know, if you spend time drawing something and color it and turn it in, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't work, it's going to be a bad time. So just make sure you float your drawing past me first. And you're just going to carefully read through, like always, you're going to read through all the requirements. A lot of the stuff is the same things we've been doing for our flats. We're going to make sure we have those nice crispy edges. We want our flats overlapping underneath the line art. Everything's separated. Everything's labeled nice. And here's an example I have of this character in this scene. And so this is what my mood I was going for. So the mood I was going for in this sample is like dark, spooky, isolated, unsettling. I use very desaturated colors, kind of grayish kind of colors to add to the dark moods. I use a little bit of purple to maybe give a hint that maybe something unnatural is at play here. I also changed the line art of the building, so I colored the line art to help the character stand out a little bit more. I probably could do a better job here of changing the color of this black areas to help make this character stand out even more. And yeah, so this character has different colors as well from the background to help them stand out. So it's very desaturated, dark, spooky mood. And here I have some just screenshots showing what I consider to be easy to navigate setup. So a lot of these are going to have a foreground and a background. So oftentimes I'll just make a folder. Here my characters are in one folder, and I have different layers of backgrounds, and I just kind of put them into folders and I name them all. And that way when I'm looking through your file, I know exactly what it is I'm looking at. So here are some student examples from last year based on this. So I thought this one was fun because even though it's the same artwork, they went for different moods. So however you want to interpret the scene is how you interpret the scene and color it accordingly. And you're going to have to explain to me in the next section why that is. And here's an example of a scene a student drew last year. So they didn't want to do one of the comic scenes I provided. They drew their own dancing skeletons, and they have kind of a dark mood going on here as well. So this is only part 1. So this is part 1. Part 2 is very easy. And like I always double check this stuff. This is exactly how I'm going to be grading your homework. So just double check this. Make sure you've hit every bullet point. So there is going to be, I believe this is only 2 questions. If I remember right, this is 2 questions. You're going to answer these questions based on the assignment we just talked about. So you're just going to tell me what mood you were aiming to set. So was it a happy mood? Was it like a sad mood? Was it a spooky mood? Whatever mood you're aiming to set, you're going to tell me, and then you're going to tell me what colors you picked and why. So for instance, I chose yellow and orange because I thought those were happy colors. So that's why that's the mood I was trying to set. So, and I felt like yellow and orange represent happiness really well. So it doesn't have to be an essay, it could just be a few sentences, and that's it. And I believe that's everything for this week. So let me just do a real quick recap. I'm zooming down to week 4 here. All right, you're gonna, number 1, read through this one more time because there's the quiz. So you're going to take the quiz. You're going to watch that 1 10-minute video, at least that one. It's really good. You're going to love it. Then you're going to create a superhero discussion, and you're going to just put in the JPEG of your colors of whatever superhero villain you created. And then you're going to do your big assignment. This is the one that should probably take you the longest to do, is you're going to add flats. You're going to create a mood to one of the scenes or draw your own scene. And then you're going to answer this real easy questionnaire about this one, and then that's it for this week. So I'm really sorry I couldn't be there. If you've got questions, just shoot me an email or a message on Canvas, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And I feel like I talked more. I guess this is a normal length of a lecture, so actually I feel like I did pretty good. So you kind of got your Val lecture here anyway. So that's it. Happy coloring, and I hope you have a good, happy coloring time. So I'll see you next week. Okay, bye!